Mr. President, recently our nation has been hitting a lot of very unfortunate milestones. Data from the National Association of Realtors shows that the average age of the first-time home buyer in America has reached an all-time high of 40 years old, while the number of first-time home buyers has also reached an all-time low. We just experienced the highest monthly spike in gas prices in decades, thanks to the president's reckless war in Iran. And perhaps most staggering, just last month, we reached a new and unthinkable milestone when the national debt eclipsed $39 trillion, the highest it's been at any point in our nation's history. For context, when I first came here to Congress in 2009, the national debt stood at $10.6 trillion. That means more than $28 trillion has been added to the debt in just 17 years. This illustrates what economists have warned about for years. The national debt is growing at an exponential rate, and it's past time to stop the bleeding. Yet for decades, this issue has not received the attention and demands that Congress needs to act. That's why I'm back on the Senate floor today to address my colleagues and the American people. The alarm bells cannot continue to fall on deaf ears. The fate of future generations of Americans depends on it. But I'm not the only one that's been issuing this warning. In recent months, various actors from across the federal government, from the Congressional Budget Office to the Department of Treasury, they have all said the same thing. Our current fiscal policy is simply not sustainable. And without changes, we're headed towards an economic catastrophe. In its last financial report, the U.S. Treasury said our public debt to GDP ratio now sits at 99%. That means the amount of debt we owe is nearly the same size as the entire United States economy. Our debt to GDP ratio is the highest it has been since World War II, and experts say that ratio is expected to exceed 200% by 2048. This would mean serious economic harm for Americans in the form of higher interest rates, less money to support critical federal services, and slowed economic growth. The Government Accountability Office says that in order to close this fiscal gap, we need to increase our revenues by 25% while reducing our spending by 20%. And we need to do that each and every year for the next 75 years. Our nation's leading economists are telling us point blank, we simply do not have time to waste. Dealing with our national debt is no longer down the road problem or something that future Congresses will be dealing with. We won't put our country on more stable financial footing by avoiding the facts or pretending that this problem simply does not exist. We won't reduce our debt by continuing the president's war in Iran. Not only are we sending our sons and daughters into harm's way, we are spending a reported $1 billion per day on a conflict that Congress has not approved and the American people simply did not ask for. The time for bipartisan action to address our growing national debt is right now. And that's why, just last month, I joined my colleagues in introducing a resolution that says by 2030, we must lower our deficit to only 3% of GDP. And I'm also proud to lead bipartisan legislation in the Senate that would examine how our national debt impacts our national security. These efforts alone won't solve the problem, but we have to start somewhere. We must put forward bipartisan, responsible, and achievable solutions that allow us to make headway in any way that we possibly can. Because I know one thing is absolutely for certain, to make it out of this national debt crisis is going to take a buy-in from everyone, Congress, the administration, and the American people. Mr. President, we're all in this boat together, and it's past time to start rowing in the right direction before the boat sinks.